Okay, and I brought you a drink this week.
I need it.
Okay, this is its second debut on the pod. Happy Lemon,
but
it's a
different
new
flavor?
drink.
Okay.
I went with the strawberry shortcake again that was like the Hailey Bieber smoothie. I've been craving it ever since that day.
You've been channeling your inner Hailey.
I had hit my... I have been channeling my inner Hailey with the bunny ears yesterday. I told you that.
Have any napkins?
I don't.
Oh, I do.
I'm sorry.
I do.
But wait, okay, so yours is a matcha latte with iced matcha latte with boba.
Yeah, it's really good.
But
yeah, it's delicious.
it's hot outside, and I had hit my coffee quota for the day, so I went with
that's the same.
the strawberry shortcake. But I got it without boba. Last time I got it with boba, but this time I just wanted it.
I mean, I just always love matcha. I could never go wrong. I needed a pick-me-up, but it's probably better that I did this and not
too high coffee. Just FYI, they don't have like coffee. They have milk teas, but that does have caffeine, like the normal amount matcha does.
So good. Oh my gosh. Well, so they don't have coffees like, you know how Teaspoon?
They don't.
Because Teaspoon is obviously all boba, but they do have.
Yeah. No, they don't. I was actually a little surprised that they didn't, just because, but no, they don't.
So good. All right, let's get into it.
All right.
High lows. What was your high?
Low.
I'm hoping ours is the same.
Well, I know one of them is the same, but I have two. Because
it's a good week.
I don't know if it happened. Actually, you were on spring break last week, so we didn't meet last week. But one of my highs is that my baby girl made her high school cheer team. She made varsity.
Yeah, that was
and it was
so exciting.
A pretty stressful.
Email, I was like,
it was a pretty stressful couple weeks because while she does go to like a smaller school, it's not as competitive of a sports school. It's growing very fast. And so they really only had 3 spots on varsity because there were only or maybe 3 or 4 seniors graduating, and they weren't sure if they'd have enough kids trying out. They've never had a JV team. So we were like really in the dark on if they were going to even make a JV team. I figured if they did a JV team.
So how many, ideally do they want on each team?
Honestly, I don't know. And I obviously had to go to the mandatory meeting, but I don't think they said that. I think 25 was what they had on their varsity team.
That sounds like a big team.
I know, that sounds big to me too, but I might be wrong on that. But anyways, long story short, it was 2 weeks of like tryouts and clinics, and then her tryout was like she had to go into a room alone with a panel of 7 judges and do her whole routine. And like she had a different day that week, like they did interviews and like on video. They video everything. It's just a very nerve-wracking experience.
Especially when you're trying out all week with like upper class, like she's not even in high school yet, and she's trying out with all these girls that are
so
already
I think
in
it was
school.
like there was a lot of emotions in our house just because it's also like you're seeing this school. It's a lot of culture shock. Like your life is about to be very different. You're going to go there for 4 years. She's in a really sweet little spot right now with a good group of friends. And so I think there's like a combination of feels about like leaving that, going to a new spot. I want to make it, but like, I don't know. It was just a lot of emotion and ups and downs that week. So
yeah,
I
imagine even finding out for her was, well, I know her very well.
She's
even a little bit of a roller coaster.
It was. I think it was still a roller coaster. I think she thought, I think she really thought she might not make it because there also were a lot of girls coming up. The new freshmen trying have a lot of talent. Like there's a fair amount of them that had done dance or all-star cheer. So anyways, but so that was a big high in our house because it also just was like this huge weight lifted off. Like once Barron went to our high school, because we don't have a lot of great schools in our area. And so my kid's high school, like this is like the new campus has only been there a couple years. It was like this huge
thing. Such a blessing when.
It's such a blessing for us that we have this school close to us when we didn't know what option we were going to even have.
Like Tyler asked already if she can go there. And I'm like, we
it's like
cannot
too
drive
far.
That every day. There's just no way.
There's another school that like a lot of kids from our church and like my Anniston school right now
go to the one in Escondido.
Yeah, like classical high school. Like,
gotta stop saying the names.
I know, but I mean, I'm not gonna have anyone going there. But but anyways, that high school, like Anniston would love to go there because it would be a lot of fun. But I'm like, that's not realistic for us to drive to Escondido, and then all your sports and events and all that stuff are out there. But anyway, so it was like this huge weight lifted off me. Like, okay, Barron had a lot of firsts this year with high school. He's settled. He played football. He had a great year. Like, I know where he's at, like, which is like the weirdest thing until they're 18. Like, it's like you go through elementary, middle, you have all these changes. And then, like, I don't know if you felt this way with London. Like, it's a little bit just like refreshing. Like, okay, you checked that, but like you got them to like where they need to be to launch. At least like there were so many unknowns for us, not even knowing what high school and whatever. So for me getting Barron, and then now Anniston has a sport, because Barron did football last year, and so it was like he had 50 friends the first. If you do a sport that starts before school, you know a ton of people on the first day of school. It starts off the experience.
Well, and
very
you guys are
differently.
lucky because, you know, we don't have a football team, so sadly we missed out on that experience. But, like, going to Barron's game, like, that stadium is so fun to play at, and it's so neat that, like, now Anniston will get to do that.
Yeah, like, it's going to be, I'm pretty excited because I'm going to have Barron and Anniston there.
Yeah, so what was Barron's, did he have any feelings about her?
I'm sure he has a lot of feelings about her being there. I mean, they have a bit of a strained relationship. I mean, they are opposites, and I think he's probably more annoyed that she's gonna go there, but maybe a little excited. I have no idea.
But then
I hope
also
that
it's
changes,
like weird because she won't cheer for his
well,
team.
Yeah,
is it possible that he would make varsity this year?
Probably not, but like he's okay. Barron is similar to me. Like Anniston has the achiever quality. Like she just is different. Like she's just an achiever, and like like Barron, I mean, I did feel like
she's
slightly
a hustler, baby.
I had a little bit of a parental like pit in my stomach for Barron, just that Anniston's going to be cheering for varsity and he's on JV. But for one, that's very normal your freshman and sophomore year to play on a JV team.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Barron's like, he may get pulled up for a game or two for varsity, but he won't be on varsity. But like in our family, we are not like the goal is to have fun and a fun experience. Also, with football, it is a little different because it's actually kind of dangerous playing against huge guys. Like, Barron is actually one of the biggest guys. Barron's definitely one of the bigger guys on JV. But, like, varsity guys, like, it's pretty crazy. Like, some of these guys are, like, 200 to 300 pounds. They're seniors in high school. They're full-grown men.
Right.
So Barron is definitely fine. Like he's like, I'm sure he'll play varsity next year. He'll probably do one more year of JV, and he also got a lot of playing time. I think he'd probably just rather play than.
Yeah,
but
that is a good outlook.
he has his outlook. Like there are a couple kids that are his age getting moved up to varsity, but he's like, Mom, they played Pop Warner for like 7 years. Like, I'm not expecting. He did FNL. Like, he knows he didn't. Whereas
that is a great quality. Like, obviously, being an achiever, it's great to work hard and have
awesome.
That like motivation. But it is really like something I try to work on with my kids a lot too. Is like just be content with what doesn't mean you can't still strive or hope for the next step, whether that's like a bigger house, better varsity, like whatever it is. But it's like you still need to be content with what you have, because if you aren't, you'll never be content. You'll never have that.
Yeah.
Well, so that's great that he does.
Which, I mean, actually, you and I kind of touched on this in the first episode we ever did on the podcast, because I said like, I'm just good. Like, you know how I said, like, I feel very, very just content and fulfilled with where I'm at. And it's like, I do still have things about me where I'm like head down, just get it done. Like if I have a goal, I will get it done.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've seen that with Barron. Like me and Tim joke, like this kid just like shocks us sometimes because it's like he like will be the biggest homebody, not want to leave the house, but then it's like he decides he wants to learn to surf and he becomes like this surfer that's out there for like 8 hours, and it's
something that's so nice about the way he does it, where he's doing it truly just for the love,
truly for himself.
And
he does, and he
that
has a confidence.
Is such a good quality. Like in how Stephen King's Memoir is one of my favorite books on writing, and one thing he says in there, when he talks about his kids, who now they're all adults, but like he said that one of his sons, like they bought him, I can't remember now what instrument it was, but they bought him an instrument, like let's say it was saxophone.
Yeah.
And, like he just, like he described, he just wasn't blissing himself out every night trying to play this. And they're like, don't do it then. Like it's not for you. Like you should be doing it just because it makes you so happy to do it.
Right.
Which I love that, because I think our society is so focused on image, and like especially when it comes to sports and academics and stuff, like to me it's like it's so toxic. Like I don't like it. And I think
Aniston, with the whole cheer tryouts, like she started having this thing where like, if I don't make varsity, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. Like, you do it for the fun. And then one day I picked her up from tryouts and she was in the best mood ever and like having so much fun. And I was like, what was different? And she's like, it was just really fun today. She's like, I really like the girls. And I was like, that is the whole point. Like,
right.
The point of this is not to be like the best one or the best at, it's just like, you're going to have a great high school experience and have fun with your friends and cheer at Friday night games. Like, But so anyways, on to, and then my other high, which is maybe your high, was Easter, which was just mine, yesterday. Easter Sunday. Of course, like it's great to reflect on the real reason of Easter. And it was a high in my day to go to your house. You hosted an Easter, I guess, lunch. I don't know. Yeah. Just an Easter gathering.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really nice. You had invited just like some neighborhood friends and stuff.
Yeah, because we all went to church. So that was fun too, because we were all at church.
Yeah.
And then, came over after church and stuff. Yeah. And so it is nice, like, to have all the fun commercialized parts of it, but celebrate, like, it was nice to start the day at church together, celebrating like the real meaning. And I feel like it's just so sweet. Our kids, like, obviously that's a wide range of kids, ages. And I feel like they did all have like a really good time. And obviously, I've been very emotional about my kids getting older and all of that. So like, it just felt extra special to me to like see everybody still like doing the egg hunt, or if they weren't doing it, they were helping somebody else find the eggs and stuff, and I just thought, and obviously it was so nice to have time with the grown-ups and stuff too.
I really enjoyed the girls that you had invited, and I had a lot of fun with them.
I did too. That was so fun. Yeah, it just felt like a really special. Also, the weather. I was talking to Jess, our pastor Jess, Troy's wife, at church, about how lucky we were that we got such, because Easter is almost always cold and like drizzly.
See, I feel the opposite.
It's in the morning, especially because we always go to church in the morning.
Yeah, I guess in the morning.
And it's usually cold and like misty for like most of the day.
Although I do remember in college almost every year on Easter going to the beach.
Wait.
Because not when I lived in Orange County, but when I moved down here, because I feel like it was
in
a holiday
where
a lot of time
I feel like we usually went to Palm Springs.
I feel like a lot of time I wouldn't go home in college.
But
like,
I feel like we always went to the Sunset
That was like in high school.
Sunrise.
Sunrise service. That was more in high school. Maybe the first couple of years of college I did that. But I definitely have a fair amount of memories.
It's not like the weather's terrible, but I just, because even Jess was saying that at church because it was so busy, that overflow, like they had to have like all the outdoor seating. And she's like, I was so nervous because usually it's so wet out, you know, for those first 3 services that like it's hard to have people be outside. And yeah, it just made the day. I think for like, well, especially, you know, my house is so small that I do need the outdoor space. Yeah. So I was very nervous about.
Well, and you had a fair number of kids. Like, we used the front yard and the backyard for the Easter egg hunt.
And if it was like wet,
well, that and then with the Easter egg hunt, it would have been muddy. Like,
exactly, and like the furniture, like it just would have made it hard. So it was just nice to have such a beautiful. I really liked the.
So that was your high. Do you have any other highs? Or was
that that also, since it was spring break, it was so fun being in Palm Springs. Like, it was just nice to be in Palm Springs. Like, the Doyles were there. Like, we had a good time with them.
I was so jealous.
Ford, it was so cute. So obviously, Ford was supposed to. I brought Ford and Ty down, or like halfway.
They went early.
Yeah, on Friday, and then Ford was going to come back Sunday.
Ford was not on spring break. I was going to only let him go for a few days.
So he missed a whole week of school.
A week and a day. And now he's on, his spring break starts today.
I mean, YOLO. It gets harder to get away with this after.
That was like, he's in 5th grade. Honestly, this is probably the last year he's going to be able to get away with something like that. But I still felt guilt over it. But I was
I was shocked that he wanted to stay down there longer.
He's never been away that long.
And he was not even remotely like sick of us or anything. Like, it was just, he's just like my favorite person, and he's so funny, and like he's got the best personality. But it also was nice because I feel like for my kids, it helped them. It's like, okay, so you know, like with Aniston, when it's the 3 of them, sometimes that's hard because they're both so close to Aniston. But then when it's the 3 of them, there's like, my girls have a harder time sharing her or whatever.
But with Ford, it kind of like went back and forth.
So then it was perfect when we were at the surf club.
That's because boys are just more like, they're not. I don't know. It's just some things are simpler with boys.
Yeah.
But
London's also always had a very close relationship with all of your boys. So it was cute because at the surf club then, they all 3 went out together. They were doing everything together. And then Tyler ended up going with Kennedy and Leighton and doing stuff. Yeah. And so that was nice because London and Ford had a really good time together.
I just saw like in the pictures that you were there, I saw Brenda and Casey were there, and I was like, oh, definitely Ford's going to be happy London's there. I literally thought of that.
Like, I think it was good because then they got that time together. Mm-hmm. I mean, before that, the 3 of them were doing it. But so that was what was nice. And the rest of the time, I mean, you know, London likes a lot more alone time anyways and to do her own thing. So, but I feel like the 3 of them did a lot more stuff than if he wasn't there.
Okay.
London probably wouldn't have wanted to hang out with us at all. So it was cute. It was fun. And the weather was kind of weird.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Well, we got lucky because like the day that we went to the surf club, it was great weather. But the day before that, one of the days it was like really overcast. Like, it was hot and humid, but it was like overcast. And then the day we left, it got so windy. You know how it can get really windy? So I was glad we left because, I mean, it was so windy that Eric didn't even drive on the freeway until...
Oh, really?
Yeah. He waited a really long time to get on the freeway because, you know, the sand there. Yeah. I mean, literally, you could see the wall of sand from, like, far away. Oh, and the other thing that was cute about Palm Springs, the kids all... I mean, Eric took them out. I took them on the golf cart too, but each night Eric took them out for like an hour. Because you know now the CV link goes like so far.
Oh, yeah.
But so that they could all drive. So they all got like a really good driving time, and they're all very good drivers. Uh-huh. Yeah, so that was definitely another high. It was a little bit of a bummer that you and I were both camping, but at different campgrounds because that would have been. But that was another high too. Like the campground stuff was fun. Renee and Allison and the kids came, and the Doyles came actually one night too for s'mores and stuff. So it was just fun. Yeah. Like it was like a very low-key spring break. Like, obviously didn't go anywhere exciting, but it was nice.
Yeah.
And the weather, oh my gosh, it was like summer here.
I know. It has been so nice.
So, lows, what was your low?
I think my low was the the camping. I mean, the camping was it was
a high and a low. Yeah,
it was a high and a low. Like,
I feel that.
I just like Tim and I have always just been such well, obviously you and I grew up camping. We had a pop-up trailer, and I
have the exact same
a pop-up trailer. Actually, ours is a little nicer than the one we grew up having, but not nice enough. No, no, but Tim and I are just such campers. We camped when we were dating. We camped, like, we've camped our whole marriage. We've camped since we had kids. We used to go a ton when Barron and Aniston and Ford were little. But I just,
it's like, just so much work.
It's so much work. And the older I get, you just, as you age, you want to be more comfortable. And
I feel
So I think.
Well, it's just getting harder and harder. Like, I feel like our lives are so busy that the margin thing, that it's like just to get packed up, even if it was to get packed up to go on a really nice relaxing vacation, that is already a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then you get to relax once you're there. But camping,
it's kind of like work the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I mean, the one silver lining is the beds are so comfortable in the pop-up. And
we don't have that.
But that used to get me through. But, like, you know, as you age, you just don't sleep as well. And now I hear, like, every noise.
Yep.
And so I don't sleep. So it's hard. And when you're beach camping, you don't usually, there's only, like, 2 sites that have power. Actually, we sometimes borrow the Besson's generator. But they were using it this week. And I don't know. I just, the discomforts of camping. So we were supposed to have it, like, through the end of this week. And Tim and the boys went and broke down the campsite this morning.
It was a low just because it was still like
it was a low,
like you just didn't feel as like
I feel sad,
refreshed.
I mean, like Tim said, are our camping days like coming to an end? And I was like, they're not coming to an end, but I think we need to be very realistic about, like, Tim loves camping. Barron honestly, all my kids love it, but Aniston has hit the age where it's just, you know, when you're in high school, you start caring. She's always been one that would shower like twice a day, even at the campsite. And she's a camper.
Girly girl, she is
she is such a camper. But she was spoiled. She went camping with friends. She stayed the night at the Besson's campsite one night in Carlsbad before we got there, and then she went to Newport with the Richards, and they both have really nice trailers and like
she said
showers and bathrooms. So like, she also, now that she's like had a taste of that, it's harder for her to come. But anyways, it was just kind of sad. Like, I think I just don't have as much of a heart for it. But I told him, like, just know that I can do like 2 or 3 nights, and then I just need to like go enjoy it and then be done. This was hard because we had like 10 days booked, and so it was like feeling bad leaving but anyways, it was fun. It was, and we have a few trips a year, like 2 to 3 times a year. Camping for 2 to 3 nights is good. I just need to remember that.
Yeah. I get it.
What was your low?
Well, you know, I can't talk about my low. I'll break down on the pod, but it's the same low that it has been, but I just feel like this last week there was like a lot there's just a lot of stuff that's like really breaking me down right now, and so I know it must be intentional, but it's really hard when you don't know if you like yourself as a person and you don't think anybody else likes you as a person. So see, I'm gonna cry. So I'm just having to take a good hard look at myself and try to figure things out, and it's been very, very heavy to do that. And I also had this, like, I thought that I was gonna catch up on a lot of work over spring break, and that didn't happen. So now I'm having to really try to pull myself up by the bootstraps. Is that the saying? Pull yourself up by the bootstraps to figure out yeah, because obviously it's been spring break for my job and my school. So now I like really have to buckle down, and like I was planning to do that today, and I was just not in the right headspace for it. So tomorrow I'm like, okay, I don't have an option, you know?
Sunday scaries.
Yeah, but Monday scaries.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my low.
I'm sorry you've been feeling like that. I know obviously we talked a little more about it off the pod, but I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just one of those things, and it builds character, builds who you are. Also, I've been won't go into it on here, but obviously there was a death in the family, and that was very sad. I don't know. I feel like I've always been an empathetic person, but it's like the stuff that like some of our close friends have dealt with, some of the loss in the last, I'm gonna cry, but it's just very sad, and it just breaks my heart that that's what they're going through, you know. And it's like you can only do so much to be there for people, but that stuff's just been heavy, and so I'm trying to work on myself, show up for the best way that I can, try to be the best person I can be. And that's like one of the things I love about with teaching too. Also, like one of my students' mom just passed away as well, which is like so heartbreaking. So it's like you just have to realize that you can be a bright light in somebody's darkness, you know what I mean? And those opportunities, I think, are there every day, even if they're just little ways, to be like a glimmer for somebody. So I'm just trying to take these lessons and make something good out of it. And so that's the low. I don't think it's over yet, but I'm working through it. Anyways, so should we talk about on this topic of life's ups and downs? I think that's a good segue into strangers.
Yep. So
I brought this up on the pod multiple times already.
It was one of your what we're loving 1 week, and then so you finished it and gave it to me, and I read it in 2 days.
Yeah, same. It
was so good.
Isn't it crazy, like, how good it is? Like, you're just like...
Yeah, I mean, I loved, the setting of the book and the way she described...
Yes, I love how she uses the ospreys, too, as, like, the thread, the through line, kind of, and, like, just to help, like, get that visual of...
Yeah, it actually inspired me. I started, like, a notes... I've done this before, but, like, I started a notes tab, like, in my notes in my phone, like, adding just, like, sort of, like, just to write down for myself more memories from, because
that's what
it
I
was
saying.
so
Remember how
cool.
I said, like, for me as a writer, this, like, I loved this book on so many levels, but I found it just her personal, where she ends up at the end, you know, like, really kind of becoming who she wants to be, as so inspiring. And obviously for her that looked like being a writer, and I relate to that. But I was saying, like, even if somebody doesn't feel that they need to write a memoir, it is that's something about it is very inspiring, right?
Yeah, well, and I don't feel any, like, I don't have, like, the pull to be a writer, but I've always enjoyed memoirs, but so the book starts during COVID, like right a week into COVID, and so she's, the majority
of... feel like that was interesting too, because it makes you realize how much kind of you've forgotten about those times.
See, I don't feel like I've forgotten anything, and I've always known I was going to treasure, because when COVID hit, I had a 1.5-year-old. And we
spent, for us, if you and I together too, and our kids, that was a very special time, because...
Well, and I knew at the time I loved...
But that wasn't true for... Like, she lives in the city.
Well, yeah, in New York City.
Living in New York
that's a
City
completely different situation.
Experience.
But she did have a home.
Exactly.
That's why the book more takes place on Martha's Vineyard, because that's where they went for COVID. But I loved it. It made me, like, reminisce about that season in COVID, which for me, it was extremely hard because I had a baby still and I was forced to like homeschool. That part was so hard. If I hadn't had to do the school part, it wouldn't have been as taxing.
Wait, how old was Beckett?
Well, he was one, it hit in March and then he turned 2 in July. And then
that is wild. Like, I don't picture
Wait,
him being
actually,
that little, but he was definitely scootering and stuff. Like
well, he scootered
early.
young,
Yes,
at 18
that's
months.
true.
Like a speed demon.
Yeah.
But
Because we would go meet in the parking lot.
yeah, so yeah, he
schools.
was one. He turned 2 in July after COVID hit in March, and he turned 2 in July. So he was really young. And then my oldest Barron was.
I guess because even Tyler was in preschool.
Barron was in 3rd grade. So Barron and Anderson were in 2nd and 3rd grade, and
gosh.
Ford was in TK. Which that part didn't matter that much, but the next year my school didn't go back. My school didn't go back, and so I had to do kinder.
But when the majority of when this book is set is in those first few months when things were really scary, especially in New York.
Down.
I mean, remember we used to follow Olivia, you know who I'm talking about, the herbalist at the Chinese medicine. What's her name? Olivia?
Oh, Organic Olivia.
Organic Olivia.
Oh, yeah,
remember
because her parents were both in the hospital. Well, and that was when, like, in New York City and Italy, like in Europe.
Yes, I mean, it was very serious. Like, hospitals were overflowed. They had no way to treat the virus yet.
And they didn't know, like, how it was going to affect people.
Just to fill... Oh, obviously, spoiler alert. If you haven't read the book and you don't want to learn anything yet, wait and read it in 2 days and then replay this. Otherwise, we're going into it. So, like, the backdrop of this is that it's the early days of COVID. They live in New York City, but they go to their place. They
right away go to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, but so it was a very scary, unsettling time, and which she makes very clear in the book. That is how she was feeling at that time.
Yeah.
And was very worried about catching the virus and all of this. So it's already like a time that you're wanting extra security in your life anyways.
But she does also clarify that it was a very like cozy time. The way I also feel reminiscent. She kind of describes that as well, that like, yes, it was scary, all this stuff, but it was also like this cozy.
Yes, they were like
her husband was chopping firewood and bringing her cocktails
remotely, and
her daughter was learning to cook and like
spending all this lovely family time. Their son wasn't there because
their son was like
he was quarantining with his friends
because he was a 17-year-old boy. So she has 3 kids, a 17-year-old boy, and then I think her daughters were 15 and 12. So she has boy, girl.
Yeah, and so it's this backdrop of very scary, unsure times, but feeling safe and protected in this home on Martha's Vineyard that's so special to them, and just getting that family time. And then she's in the kitchen cooking, gets a phone call.
She lets it go to voicemail because she doesn't recognize the number.
And it's a man saying that
he leaves a voicemail.
He leaves a voicemail saying that his wife is having an affair with her husband.
He said, I'm sorry to tell you this, or I'm calling for Belle. I'm sorry to tell you this, but I think your husband's having an affair with my wife.
And I felt this way. I don't know if you did. It definitely seemed like an intentional choice on her part she was not trying to dwell on that other like, she talks very little of the mistress, and you do know, though, that all came about because she had tried to commit suicide.
Well,
the mistress. And so she was in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. That's what the husband said, that she but then the husband, she goes to find the husband, and her husband was on the phone with the woman, in a very
mistress.
Protective, caretaking. So
but at first he says he knows that she knows. Like the mistress must have because he says to Belle, doesn't he say to Belle, it doesn't mean anything?
Yeah, that was before he was on the phone. So he first comes out and says it didn't mean anything.
But so
it's over.
But she obviously knows that he must have talked to her because he knew somehow that Belle knew. Or
yeah,
I guess she doesn't clarify that.
But then the phone scene is like right after that. And then he basically flips a switch and says he's done, he hasn't been happy, he wants a divorce, and essentially leaves her and the kids and wants nothing to do with them and is very cold to her and the kids, which we don't have to go into our own personal story, but it was very, I mean, what
obviously our dad listens to this. We love you.
We love you, Dad.
We love you, Dad. But
we've made it through to the other side.
The book Strangers is almost an identical story to what happened to our parents.
Exactly. Less millions, less generational wealth, but everything else is the same.
I mean, it's very similar. Our parents were married 30. She's married for 20 years in the book, or 21, but our parents were married for 30 years, a little over 30 years.
And it was the same. It was the same situation too, where he has this conversation with Belle, but he does not want to be there initially to tell the kids. He wants her to have to do it, which is the same thing. My mom had to tell us. My dad didn't want to have anything to do with telling us. But it was interesting to read it now from an adult perspective. Obviously, I have worked through all that stuff. It didn't affect me negatively reading it like that, but it was more like, it was just, I felt for her from the adult, as an adult married woman, I could relate to her. And then I could also relate to it from what her children are experiencing. And also for her, the extra weight, emotional weight that she has had to carry by having to bear this like burden of upsetting your children's entire lives.
Yeah.
And essentially having to take that.
So she describes basically like what those first few months, like she could barely get out of bed, but she didn't tell her kids. I actually was on the way over here listening to the Oprah podcast.
Oh, you were?
The interview with her. I didn't get too far into it, but
I've only seen
but
clips.
she clarifies in that it was about a month between when she found out and when they told their kids. So she was trying really hard for a month to pretend, which one of the girls figured it out pretty fast. And then the other one didn't and wished her mom had told her. So I think she was kind of saying she wished she had told them.
Yeah.
I don't think our mom, I don't know that she even tried. I don't know. I don't remember. I was already in college. I guess that's also one difference.
I was in college too.
You were in college too?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, not that he left at this was his second time leaving in our life.
Yeah, that's true.
But the relating. So what I found fascinating about this, obviously a lot of people get divorced and that looks a lot of different ways, but it's the flipping of the switch, and that because I have experienced that.
She references in the book like people told her later, yeah, they're called disappearing husbands, and she references like that other people had
that experience,
Oprah,
which is what
Oprah
our
podcast said
experience was. And I think it's just wild to think about how your life, like for her this whole time, it's like she's lived this certain way for 20 years. And it's like overnight, it's not just that he wants nothing to do with her. He doesn't even want anything to do with his kids. And it sounded like he was actually a really wonderful, involved dad, which our dad was as well. So it's like she's left with this devastation, and then this also just trying to understand how somebody could do that, And it sounded like I felt like she did a good job, at least the way it's expressed in the book, of accepting that she just was never going to get those answers. Yeah. And that's why the financial battle of it was also so hard and stressful.
Yeah.
And
Well, they bring that up in the Oprah podcast because Oprah says like she's learned with whether it's like death, divorce, an illness, like acceptance, which I've learned this in therapy, like radical acceptance is like the term in therapy.
Yeah.
Like the only path forward is through acceptance.
And that's part of the grieving process, but it's
yeah. But that's the end.
It's the end stage, and you have to go through the other ones.
Yeah, like she had to get the acceptance to realize she was never going to get the answers. But
yeah, so like we don't have to go into more detail about it right now, but I just felt like it was so well written, and I just felt like it was so relatable.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably very wait, did Mom read it or not?
She hasn't yet.
Like, it's going to be extremely validating. Like,
that's
you
what
thought
I told
it would
her.
be
No,
triggering.
I said it will be triggering because it's going to bring up all those feelings of anger and confusion and rejection. But I think more than anything, it will feel validating, which is what Belle has also said, that so many people are reaching out about how this book has been so validating for them.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think no one can. I saw with my own eyes, like, that flip of a switch is, like, definitely terrifying. One thing I haven't heard her talk about, the author, and I didn't get that far on the podcast. Maybe she has said this. But, like, in experiencing this, not in my own marriage, but as my parents, like, I saw it very up close and personal. Mm-hmm. I would say, like, the biggest thing, though, is, like, the affair. Like, this is why I would say, like, protecting your marriage is so important, because the problem is, like, once someone has an affair and the feelings are there, which, granted, with Dad, I don't know. I think it was layered, but we won't talk anymore about the personal with my dad. But I think
again, we love you, Dad.
What I think is so, like, scary is that, like, once someone has an affair and they have feelings for someone else, it's like, and this doesn't. Some people go back to their wife and work it out with their family, but if it is too strong of a connection, like, there's nowhere to go. The switch has flipped.
But I don't think I agree with that. But I think, like, in this situation in the book, and even in our situation, from seeing that firsthand, I think the flip really switched before the affair, because I really don't think I think there are so many factors that lead to cheating. Because some of that is like character. It's just a character thing.
And she talks about this on the Oprah podcast. Like, it's very hurtful when someone says, like, it takes two to tango, or it takes two to end a marriage. And, like, I think people who haven't experienced something like this could say, like, it's something the other, the wife wasn't doing or whatever, but with no warning to work on something or any of that, that's not really a fair statement to say. Like,
yeah, although there are two sides to every story, and obviously this is her side. And even, like, Dad would say he did try, he tried and tried, but this is a problem, which you and I have been talking about a lot, about this same situation just in our personal lives. Everybody processes things very differently, and I think why this book resonated too, and why it can be scary with not just in a marital relationship, with children, with friendships, with anything. It's hard because and why it's called strangers. Like, you can think that you know somebody, but you really just never know what somebody else is thinking, what's going on in their mind. And so,
and perception as well, like,
so
two
it's
people's
like,
perception of the same event can be completely different.
Because maybe he would say, maybe if he was being completely honest, he would say, yeah, we were great for 20 years and then I decided I wasn't happy anymore. Or maybe he would say, actually, I hadn't been happy for 10, 15, whatever it is.
Which I would still say the responsibility is certainly on that person to communicate that you're not
it
happy
absolutely
and work
is. But
through that.
But if you're married to somebody and they don't get like,
yeah,
if they don't share that with you and then all of a sudden they're done, then what do you do? Like you never really had a choice because I wanted to read. I use this for part of my thesis too. I thought this was interesting too, how she brings up, because she uses the book to also tell a lot of her own story outside of the marriage too, just her childhood, her upbringing, and obviously she comes from generational wealth, like a very, very famous family, and that had its own dysfunction and stuff like that. But you know, when she felt like the ghost of her father and her grandmother were with her, I thought that was like a really special part of the story too, because it was like, it was just that was part of her grieving process too, and how she was also grieving her father's death, you know. Okay, so she says, in the living room each night, as I worked on my puzzle with my grandmother's ghost sitting calmly beside me, I'd wonder, what is it about the women in my family that attracts this kind of betrayal? Will the same thing happen to my girls? Did James have his own legacy of men behaving badly, walking out without explanation, of women stoically enduring it? Did we both have another legacy of adults remaining silent, never explaining what had happened, pushing it underground into the subconscious lives of the next generations, creating a destiny where the bad thing could be and would be repeated? I just liked that so much because she's kind of like, okay, well, I'm at this point, I'm trying to move through it, and now, like, what do I do with this? How, like, what can be learned from this situation? What can be changed?
And this is too much to go into on this episode, but she goes into a lot of how she was treated after her husband leaves her. Like, she literally had no choice in the matter. She could not choose. She wanted to still be married, and
all the money had been hers. They were both successful lawyers, and she did make her own money, and then she stopped working. But all the money that they used to buy their homes
was from a trust that she had,
and he was going to take it from her. Yeah. Thankfully, he ended up not doing that. But
even the way she's treated, which
by the people around her, yes.
Which I will never forget the day Mom and I were in actually the Home Goods in Encinitas, and I don't know if she knew someone there. I think she was like, we ran into someone like she had known, and she
don't say names though.
Yeah, no, she said like, oh yeah, I've been married for 30 years, but I'm getting divorced. And I remember like looking at her and hearing my own mom say that was like the most shocking thing, because I hadn't like fully accepted that she was like gonna get a divorce. And I was like, Mom, no, you're not. Like, and she's like, I am. I have to start saying it. Like, I have to start. Like, she.
Well, and at that point,
it was like
things were very messy. But I mean,
yeah,
that
things
was
were messy and bad. Like, it was, but it was like this wild experience to see. Like, I had parents married for 30 years. I mean, talk about like an identity thing. Even for me as just like the kid, it was the weirdest identity shift from having like married parents for 30 years to having divorced parents. I can only imagine if you were the married person for 20 or 30 years to switch into being this divorced person, right? And how people around her, like, she was really pretty shunned by a lot of people. Yeah. Even the people who didn't mean to, it's just a different world. Like,
well, and how much blame was placed on her? You
didn't have exposed your kids.
Yeah, or like
women become less interesting to men when they don't work.
Yeah,
like
her gynecologist told her that. I mean, are you serious? But it's like she didn't work to raise their children. Yeah. You know,
and she said she had considered going back to work,
and he like, didn't want her to.
Because, yeah. But anyways,
so there's so much wisdom here, and I think everybody would love this book. We won't tell you how it ends. Well, maybe we already did. I don't know. But,
no, I mean, she kind of, I mean.
But it's just fascinating. I think it's such a good read that you could relate to.
Even if you don't relate to it at all, it's just an entertaining read.
That's what I'm saying. You would find some aspect of it relatable, even if you aren't married, you're not divorced, you don't have divorced parents. There's just the way that she writes is so beautiful. She's so vulnerable, I think, with herself and her story that like that makes it relatable.
Honestly, my favorite part of the book was actually just reading. I enjoy memoirs in general, but just reading about how someone else raised their family and did family life, like that was the most interesting part to me, more so than even the divorce.
It sounds like neither her or her husband by any means had a traditional way of being raised. Wouldn't you say?
I don't know what you mean by that. Like a traditional way of being raised?
They did not come from like traditional upbringings. Her especially.
Oh, you mean like they didn't have married parents?
Well, not just that. I mean, they had... I think she does a really good job of like being cautious about how she describes things.
But like she's honest. Yeah, like she's very well to do. And
yeah, but not just that. There wasn't a lot... Like... Her mom, for example, the way her mom was raised in a guest house, separate home on the property by multiple nannies.
Yes.
And so
that actually was fascinating in itself.
Right.
Just to read about.
Like, obviously, I think she feels like her mom did the best she could. And she
loves her mom, and her mom did the best she could. But there's obviously going to be some fallout from the generational.
Right. So it's like and we don't know a ton about how he was raised, but obviously the stuff with his dad did the same thing kind of. And so it seems like they did do a very good job of like, we're going to do right by our kids now. Yeah. We're going to have this like strong, close family unit. And they did for a long time.
I mean, there is also a side of that. I think that's a lot easier when you have like the dreamy phase of having babies and like it even.
Well, yeah, and it also helps when you have a lot of money to do all of these things.
Yeah, because she even is honest and says she has help. But like, I think while you're raising kids, there's such purpose and like dreaminess about it. But then I feel like it sort of like at the stage he left is like, okay, well, the fun part's over. Like now it's a little day to day. Like I feel like there's a part there where I could see like, oh, this is getting boring or whatever. You know, that's why you sometimes need to reinvent yourself.
Or even if it's more like the impression I got was more that it's like he tried to be that was never really who he was.
Well,
and it was like he put on this facade for too long and he couldn't do it anymore. Yes, I'm not really a good guy. I'm not really the good husband. I'm not really a good father.
Yes, I think
right.
I think that's probably true.
Rather than like, oh, I'm bored.
It did sound like he gave that up pretty quick. Like he was mesmerized by the babies, but like he pretty much stopped doing any of the caretaking for them very young. Like she does say that in there.
Yeah.
And he works very long hours, which...
Yeah, so it's like...
There's also an aspect like that could be a character thing as well.
Yeah, I think it's like most of it, right? Yeah. But anyway, so we'll stop talking about this now. We can't wait to hear some feedback. We want to know your thoughts. We'll get into it. So leave us comments, DM us. Thank you, by the way. We've been getting a lot more messages about feedback.
It's
so
helpful.
Thank you. Okay, what we're loving.
Okay, well, based on what we look like right now,
what we're wearing is what we're loving.
Yep, what we're wearing is what we're loving.
Stand up.
Let's stand up. Okay, so if you're watching, we have new merch.
Iconic.
So these are our new sweatshirts and
little cocktail.
Okay, and we have a tote bag. Oh wait, I'm not in the camera. There. Okay, so the tote bag set and the sweatshirt say iconic on one side, and then they say look good, feel good,
do good And the tags are custom. The wrist has a CNC for cocktails.
Yeah, and so it says CNC on the sleeve right here.
They're so warm and cozy.
They are very cozy.
And a little note of like how. So we always knew we wanted to do merch and just like fun little things that kind of represent.
We'll take any excuse to do something fun.
Yeah.
Or for a new outfit.
And so when we were trying to decide on what, what we wanted to be the first design, we both were coming up with things. So the look good, feel good, do good is something that we've been saying to each other for a really long time. And it's really just when you take the time to look good, whatever that looks like to you.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like dressed to the nines.
Especially when you're a new mom and everybody knows at that stage how you go sometimes without showering. Like, it's a big deal to be able to take a shower, to set your baby, to do anything. And when you start to be able to actually put yourself first or do some self-care, you feel better. And then you do better. You go out and you show up as a better person. And the iconic, I wanted to read the definition. Iconic describes someone or something that is widely recognized, admired, and represents a specific idea, era, or style. It refers to people, places, or objects with significant and lasting symbolic importance. It's also a cultural moment. And so we thought, like, we love things that we consider to be iconic, and we love the idea of kind of just embracing what is iconic to you. Like, feel iconic, be iconic. Like, you're enough as you are, and that's iconic. So anyways, we thought it was fun, and we're loving it. And
I think we'll do a giveaway.
Yeah. Jen's decked out. Jen's got her cute red.
I have my red.
Her red cup.
Her shoes on, my red cup.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of, remember, red's been our color this year.
Yeah.
So we ended up just doing red.
We went with red. And I mean, Cocktails and Critiques always been red.
Yeah,
but,
that was also red. And we didn't think anyone wants to wear a shirt that says Cocktails and Critiques, but our tag is so cute.
And it says Cocktails and Critiques. And so we will post the pictures on Instagram, so please make sure you're following us on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll do a giveaway. And shout out to Windmill City.
Yes,
our screen printer. It's our good friend Glenn from
who also has Justin Bieber as a client. Who was there?
I don't know if I think that's on
name
the
dropping.
DL.
No, I know. Just kidding. April Fool's. Okay, so good times though. Yeah, like it was so fun. This process was so fun, and we can't wait for you guys to join in with the merch and
we'll see you next week
to see the next design too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, tune in for how you can win and purchase.
Yep.
All right. Bye.